Good afternoon and welcome to July's webinar for Western Neuropathy Association. It's our pleasure to provide this webinar to you, and the topic is going to be very interesting today. Remember that generally speaking, we want you to hold your questions and put them in the chat or the Q&A. But the speaker also is okay with you asking the questions while she's speaking. Please be polite and etc. This webinar will be recorded and on our website and on the YouTube video within about a week. So let me give you some information about our speaker and the topic. The topic is hypnosis as a tool for neuropathy. And our guest presenter is Trisha Fuller, and she is an award-winning master hypnotist and NLP trainer, practitioner, mentor, international, and TED speaker, co-author, and an Amazon bestseller. Trisha has been featured on iTunes, C-Suite Network, and has spoken on stages such as Oxford University and the University of Alberta, and facilitates workshops throughout the Canadian Hypnosis Academy. Her active hypnosis clinics support thousands of clients. Trisha is passionate about helping others discover new techniques to balance family, career, and support them with their goals, weight loss, stop smoking, confidence, stress, and pain. And of course, our most interesting part of this is pain. So basically what she's going to talk about is how hypnosis can be a powerful tool for managing neuropathy by helping reduce the perception of pain and discomfort. So without any further ado, I would like to give the screen to Trisha. And welcome and thank you very much for being our presenter this month.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Thank you. All right, just because I end up being a little bit of a longer talker, I'll just jump right in. Like he said, if you have any questions, sometimes it is easier for me to answer while we're on the topic. So if we do notice it, I'll gladly answer them, and they'll tell me the question. So thank you so much for being here today. I hope this clears things up for hypnosis and how it can help you. So there's a pill for everything. And for most pain management clients that I've worked with, they often say that the side effects are sometimes worse than what they're going through. And, hypnosis is like a drug-free solution that, has been used for thousands and thousands of years. That's actually, it goes back about 4,000 years. There's Egyptian sleep temples. It was called laying of the hands. And I kind of coin it like the original technique. So there's lots of people out there with like new techniques and they put a new label on the bottle type of thing. But hypnosis is one of the original techniques that were out there. James Esdale, he was a very famous physician. He did over 300 pain-free surgeries on the battlefield in India. It is next level. It's been used in obstetrics. It's been used in dentistry, oncology, pediatrics. It's highly, highly effective at changing the perception of pain. And hopefully you'll become curious about hypnosis as a drug-free solution for yourself. So I have no idea how many of you have actually experienced hypnosis. So we're just going to go like from the basics. What is hypnosis? So the funnest and easiest thing you could do is if you closed your eyes right now and then opened your eyes. That's a lot like what hypnosis is. All hypnosis is actually self-hypnosis, and it is just a brainwave state, a very focused brainwave state. So right now, you're in something called beta brainwave. And I'm just gonna, use my finger here, very fancy pointer here. And your brainwaves go up and down like this, up and down, up and down. And every time it goes up and down is another thought. So a lot of people think that they can multitask. We cannot. We can just jump from thought to thought to thought to thought. When we go down the next level, the next brainwave state is called alpha, and that is prayer or meditation. and it is even slower, lower, and wider. And so we're jumping from thoughts less and less. The next state under that is what I call the hypnotic brainwave state. I'm not the only one, of course. It is focused attention. So it's slow, low, and even wider. And so what hypnosis really is focused attention. So when you're achieving singular thought, they wish they would have changed the term because it's very, very confusing. The word hypno in Greek actually means sleep. However, you are not asleep during hypnosis. You're just in a focused brainwave state where everything else kind of falls away. So an everyday example of hypnosis, I wish I could see a show of hands, but who has driven somewhere, got there, and not remembered the last 5 minutes of the drive. I don't recommend it, but it is highway hypnosis. You weren't asleep, you didn't black out, you were still in control, you were just hyper-focused on one thing, and the world just kind of fell away, and you were achieving what's called singular thought. Another example of daily hypnosis, and I wish I could see how many people actually got this, but where does this jingle come from? Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Give you a minute to think about it. I see Glenn nodding his head. I don't know if anybody else did, but it is, if anybody puts that in the chat, I'd love to see where do you think that jingle comes from? And I, for some reason, cannot see it. Can somebody tell me what it says there, Glenn?
Yeah, Kimberly wrote McDonald's, and of course she's right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm a terrible singer, and somehow people still get it. So through relaxation, repetition, and fixation, you'll never not know that. So that's the equivalent of like trying to forget your ABCs. So if you imagine like an old-fashioned filing cabinet and you had to figure out where Q is in the alphabet, your brain is automatically going to at least sing at the minimum QRS. And that is an automatic response. That is what hypnosis is. So the truth is that I am actually not hypnotizing people. I am de-hypnotizing them from the track that they're on. Because right now they have a stimulus, they have a response, and it's automatic. It happens automatically. And the best example of this that, most people can resonate is, they might be bored sitting on the couch. So they go to the pantry, they find a food, and they eat it. And they might not have even been hungry, but it's an automatic response. And we all have that with something in our life. And the truth is we're changing that pattern so the resource state can be different. Other examples of hypnosis that you might not realize is if you've ever shed a tear during a movie, that is a hypnotic response. The movie is not real, but your mind and your nervous system or your subconscious mind is responding to that. So we have 3 goals that we want to accomplish when we're looking at pain relief in any form, whether it's for neuropathy or for cancer pain or even just emotional pain. We want to do 3 different things. So we want to improve sleep and general health. We want to decrease sensation, change sensation, or move the sensation, and then reduce stress, fear, anxiety, and depression associated with it. So this is referred to something fancy called the fear, tension, pain syndrome. And you can see how one aspect of it leads into the other and then leads into the other. And it slowly decreases a person's ability to move and get around and function because one ripples into the other and it grows and grows and grows. So every time we come around the cycle again, we have increased anxiety over just experiencing the pain, or what if it's going to be like this again? Might be the common themes that are going through a person's head. Their fear about it actually increases the problem. So if we can either change, alleviate, reduce, or eliminate any one point in the cycle, you can make your life better. All right. So don't think about a dog. That's how most people tackle their life. I don't want to eat chocolate. I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. The problem is that you cannot not think about those negatives. Your mind can't process them. So just because you put the word don't in front of it doesn't change anything. So the first thing that we have to teach people is actually how to begin to state what they want to have happen instead of what they want to get rid of. So they'll come in and they'll be like, I don't want to feel this pain anymore. I don't want to be struggling. I don't want to feel the stresses. I don't want to deal with my family. I don't want to deal with talk. And the list is so long, and it literally becomes an embedded suggestion for what they're going to get. So if you think about that, have you ever caught yourself saying, I don't want this in my life? And if you have, you need to flip the script at a minimum and state what you want instead of what you want to get rid of. Think of this like going to a restaurant. You wouldn't go into a restaurant and tell them, I don't want pizza or I don't want a salad. You would tell them exactly what you want. And you want to begin to think of, even if you're struggling with pain, you want to state to your brain what you want to have happen, not what you want to get rid of. So word connotation plays a huge role in this. Every single word creates an emotional state, effectively changing the chemical response in our body. And the biggest word that we have to change is the word pain. So I've put some words here that have a negative connotation that just don't make the body, mind, or the emotions feel any better. The first one is hard versus challenge. I had one client, she said, if a person told her they challenge her to do something, it's almost like she could not. She had to do it. As soon as she heard the word challenge, it was like, she had to fight, bring it, I want to do this. And, we rise to the challenge, and there's always solutions to challenges. But if a person says the word hard, there's just like no point where it's good for the nervous system. You think of the word hard labor, whether that's in childbirth or if that's, even like doing manual work. If it's hard work, already the nervous system like just gives up. We're accessing the subconscious part of your mind when we're doing hypnosis. And the subconscious mind is somewhere between the age of like 5 and 7. Some people are a little bit older. And I'm not any older than anybody else, but that's roughly where our subconscious mind lies. And if you think of a 5 to 7-year-old and you told them that something was going to be hard, it's like they almost give up. They throw themselves down on the ground and they're like, oh, I can't do it. But if you begin to reframe those statements, your subconscious mind will be happier with them also, because it is that age. So we have our subconscious and our unconscious mind. They're kind of that those words are interchangeable. And then we have our conscious mind. And our conscious mind is what we're dealing with things on a daily level. After the age of 5 to 7 years old, somewhere around when a child stops believing in Santa Claus, we develop something called the conscious mind. And we have a very, we'll call it a thick wall in between the two, that's called the critical faculty. And this critical faculty, when you hit it with information, it goes, the conscious mind goes, no, I don't think I can. So for instance, if I tell your conscious mind right now that you could have a more comfortable life, that you could have more energy, that you could begin to heal, your subconscious mind's like, I don't know. Can I? Like, I don't know. The same conscious mind says, when you say, oh, you can have more time, more money, and all these things, our conscious mind's like, I'm not sure I believe you. But when you go to the subconscious mind, that 5 to 7-year-old, and you're like, you can succeed and you can feel better and you can, be a doctor, you can be a millionaire. That subconscious mind, that little 5 to 7-year-old begins to believe it. So we want to state those words that encourage what you would say to a 5-year-old in order for them to succeed. So would a person want to be sick, or do they want to see themselves as healing? Do they want to have stress, or would they like to be less than calm? Now, notice that isn't being fluffy. We're not just talking about positive affirmations. We're talking about actually putting suggestions in our mind that can be seeds that will grow to be what we want it to be. So less than calm is being honest. We're not exactly ideal in the moment. We are still stating to our mind what we want it to be, because the brain does not process the less than calm. The last one there is the most fun, of course, is pain versus discomfort. So if you said the word pain 10 times out loud to yourself right now, and I've experimented with this with reading, I've experimented with classrooms, in many different presentations. By the time we say pain 10 times, even the healthiest person will begin to notice in their body where they are experiencing pain. Now that could be like somebody's left shoulder, it could be their lower back, but the more we say it, the more the brain goes, where is it? Where is it? What is it? Like, and it looks for it. So if you say the word discomfort, notice the root word is comfort. That is what the body wants to achieve. We want to feel more comfortable. It can't process the word dis. So they have done a few experiments in like pain management wards where one side of the ward, the nurse was allowed to say, rate your discomfort on a scale of 0 to 10. And the other side was allowed to say, rate your pain on a scale of 0 to 10. And the one who said discomfort did give out 50% less pain medication. So changing the word will actually change how your brain processes it, how your body is processing it. And it is effectively telling you what you want to achieve in your mind, your body, and your emotions. So if you're going to do this in any way, shape, or form, I highly, highly recommend that you find a hypnotist, hypnotherapist that is going to actually do a free assessment. You want to make sure that you have a signed doctor's referral. And this is super, super important. It is actually negligent to remove pain that has not been medically cleared. So I'll give you an example of this. If a person came in and said that they were experiencing a severe stomach ache and they asked me to remove that pain and it wasn't actually medically cleared and they had appendicitis, the person could actually die from having that pain removed. Pain is a signal. And once we have that medical clearance, and it's really easy to get when a person's on a pain regimen, the doctor's just acknowledging that you are mentally cleared, physically cleared, so that we can actually reduce or change the pain. Within this, we can do some really cool things. We can do things like control rooms. We can do switches, mental switches. We can actually reprogram the pain so it's creates like an anesthesia effect or analgesia effect. It can actually change the sensation. What if you can move it to your, pinky finger or somewhere so tiny on your body that it didn't have the same effect on you? We can also help people actually change so they become like an observer of it so that they can manage it from the outside. So there's lots of really cool things. And during that free screening, people will actually be able to discover whether they are actually able to do hypnosis. A good hypnotist will actually test doing something called hypnotic convincers or suggestibility tests to make sure that the person is able to do hypnosis. And again, you're always in control in hypnosis. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and you should never expect a blackout. This is a tool. The goal is to guide you so that you can learn how to do self-hypnosis on your own and gain that power whenever you need without anybody else being present. It is empowering you to become the facilitator of your physical, emotional, mental health. And it gives you that self-hypnosis practice daily whenever you need it. The first session is always geared towards actually learning what hypnosis feels like. And again, to explain what hypnosis feels like, you can close your eyes and open your eyes. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy, but everybody experiences it different. Some people feel light and urethral. Others feel heavy and sedate, like their body is just like melted into the surface beneath them. Other people feel like their eyes were closed and they were paying attention very intensely. It is always different for every single person. Every single session is different. And an experienced hypnotist will provide you with hypnosis sessions that you go home with and that you practice. This is like, doing a new instrument or doing a new sport, the more you practice, the stronger the skill gets. So we plant the seed, the idea, and then you build the muscle, like kind of like lifting weights. You build the muscle through relaxation, repetition, and fixation. The more you practice, the stronger it will become. For some people, the very first time that they do a hypnosis session for pain relief, they can achieve a 50% reduction. Or the first time they do sleep hypnosis, they like magically sleep 6 hours and they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't done that in so long. Whereas other people might only receive like a small change. And this could be like 10%, but 10%, if you build that muscle, can become 50%. So you really want to come in with like tempered expectations of, we're not looking for a magic wand. This does take effort. You do have to keep on practicing the skill. And that's why step 3 is the daily practice of hypnosis and learning the techniques. So any one of these things can be benefited and they ripple into the other one. That's why the arrows go back and forth. Sometimes we start automatically with pain relief. Sometimes we start with a sleep program. Sometimes we start with stress or mood enhancement. It really has to do with what each client needs in that moment. So if they're, if they haven't slept in months, I'm going to start with sleep because they need to begin to feel more rested before I can even put new information out there for their mind to receive. There's a happy side effect. There's 2 happy side effects with hypnosis. You cannot produce stress hormone in hypnosis. So every single time you go down into that theta brainwave state, in the theta brainwave state, you cannot produce stress hormone. So a natural happy side effect of hypnosis is that they don't produce stress hormone during that time. So effectively reducing the cortisol response in your body and adrenaline response from fight, flight, or freeze. Another happy side effect is that almost all people, regardless of whether they're utilizing a sleep program or not, because of the reduced stress, they do begin sleeping and resting better. And even if a person only stayed in hypnosis and wasn't able to go to sleep, most people feel like they've had a 2-hour nap every single time they do a hypnosis session. So they are getting that mental break and they're allowing that healing to begin to happen. So what I have for you guys today is a very quick technique that I highly recommend taking pictures of this. I'm going to walk you through the steps of it. It is hands down one of the easiest and fastest ways to begin to gain control. So number 1 is when you're experiencing either a thought, a feeling, or an emotion, and you're not judging it. We're not deciding, is it right, wrong, good, bad, or up or down. We're simply making sure that we're just deciding, is it useful or unuseful? And if it is unuseful, then we're going to count backwards from 5 to 1. Now, a lot of people think this is just a Mel Robbins technique. It's actually, it's been utilized for a while, but counting backwards, we're stimulating a different part of our mind. We're stimulating the prefrontal cortex, and it begins to shift the mind's activity. And then we're going to grab the water. Now, I don't care whether it's a thought, feeling, or emotion. You're simply going to grab your water, drink the water, and say, I wash it away. And it becomes an embedded suggestion. Notice that I did not say flush it away. That makes a totally different picture. But we're teaching our mind to do something really cool. We're teaching our mind to remember to forget, or something to let it go. And if we just keep on saying wash it away, we hold on to those negative feelings, thoughts, or emotions, and we learn to teach ourselves to let it go quicker and easier. So eventually a person could be washing their hands. They could be having a shower. They could be watching it rain. They can just be watching a body of water. And they're teaching their mind to remember to let go, which is a hypnotic technique called amnesia that helps our brain let go. And we can do that with discomfort as well. After we wash it away, this is the part that's really cool. You can begin to take control by something called bilateral brain stimulation. So you want to do one hand open and close, and then the other hand open and close. Notice that it is not at the same time. It has to be one side and the other. This is the big problem when people see stress balls, for instance. They'll often get 2 stress balls and they'll squeeze them at the same time. That does not help with that. Actually heightens the stress response in the body. But if we do one hand and then the other hand, and then one hand and then the other hand, the brain has to cross from the corpus callosum, and it actually changes the sensation. I've had people decrease fear responses before procedures. It's a way for them to calm down their nervous system. I'm hoping somebody's doing this along with this so that they can actually experience the difference. It's almost impossible to increase the sensation while doing it. If you can actually imagine that you're milking a cow while you're doing this, it's going to work even better. And then step number 5 is something called box breathing. So this is breathing into the very bottom of your lungs, expanding your diaphragm. And so what you want to do is take a deep breath into the count of 4, hold it, blowing up your belly like a giant balloon. Hold for the count of 4, blow out through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle to the count of 4. Hold for the count of 4 and repeat. So it's like a box. In 4, hold 4, out 4, hold 4. And at least 10 reps of this really can change the sensations in your mind, your body, and your emotions. So I'm just going to move my head to the side here and like get out of the screen. If you guys just want to take a picture of that before I change slides, or hopefully somebody in the team will take a picture of it so that you guys can have it for later. So if you want any more information about this, and I have a free gift for all of you. First, I have an article from the Pain magazine that I will send you, and as well as a free hypnosis audio to reduce stress. So if anybody wants to scan those or message me, make sure that you write in the subject where you saw me so that I know what I'm sending you. And I would be happy to send that free pain relief, not pain relief, stress relief audio, an article on pain management. All right. So I have officially left enough time for questions this time, which is good.
So
Yeah.
thank you very much. And very interesting. And boy, I was thinking all kinds of things. Some of the things some of the people in the chat were thinking. I try to do meditation every night, and there's a little bit of similarity, but not, there's other things that are very different. And it has actually helped. But my problem is that by the time I finish the meditation, the pain comes back. At least it seems to me that it does. Anyway, let's get on to the chat and see what kind of questions people have. And then you can probably answer some of that because I'm sure there's some of it in it. Okay.
Absolutely.
So
so can I go back to that, meditation
absolutely.
versus hypnosis statement?
Mm-hmm.
So remember, like I said, alpha is prayer or meditation. So it's the brainwave state just above hypnosis. So often with meditation, we're actually getting to a state of neutrality, openness, or oneness. And it's almost more challenging to not think. Whereas with hypnosis, we're going down one more level to the brainwave state theta, and that is the hypnotic brainwave state. And in that one, we do more. So yes, the beginning part is very, very similar. So, if you enjoy the beginning part of meditation, you're going to absolutely enjoy hypnosis. But what we do once we get there is substantially different. So when we go into hypnosis, we're using a very specific suggestion that the person has asked for. Like, I want to believe that I could be more comfortable than I am currently. And when we're planting those seeds in the subconscious mind and in the theta brainwave state, we don't have that critical faculty interfering. So every time they experience a hypnosis session, that belief, that new strategy can begin to build and build and build, and it becomes stronger, like I said, like that muscle. So it's what you do when you get there that differentiates between meditation and hypnosis, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So that answers one of the questions someone asked, is this like meditation? And I had the same question myself. So are some people unable to be hypnotized?
Generally speaking, 95% of the population can be hypnotized. Willingness, motivation, and belief have a huge dependency on whether it's going to be productive. So if a person has any kind of fear or apprehension, and a person is being told they need to be hypnotized and they don't want to, they just won't. They will maintain control. They'll be like, no, I don't want to do this. And that's completely okay. But that's why you always want to make sure that you actually do what we call a free screening or a consultation with a hypnotist. You want to make sure you're comfortable with them, right? You want to make sure that they're actually following the suggestions that you're giving them, because this is for your benefit. So you can be hypnotized if everybody does it every single day when they go down into sleep and then out of sleep. It's what you do and whether you want to do it at that time. Another thing that's really important is hypnotic depth is directly dependent on need. So the more a person needs it, the more likely they are going to succeed at it. And the best example of this is people who go on stage and they're like, I was sent off stage, I can't be hypnotized. Yeah, I was sent off stage because I don't want to be that, person quacking like a duck, for a lack of a better word, on screen. Even though I'm a trained, I can do stage hypnosis. And honestly, you want to have fun with change, but you don't have to want to perform. So please don't let your past experience dictate what you can and cannot do with this. So one of the cool things that I really do with clients is making sure that they have a lot of home hypnosis. I provide this home hypnosis session so that they can become comfortable with it before maybe they even ever work with me. Because if they're not comfortable with it, then they're not going to be comfortable with me. So doing it in the comfort of your own home, people will be able to see that they could snap out of it whenever they want. Nobody has ever stayed hypnotized. They're always in control.
Good, thank you. So here's another question. I wonder if this could help with tinnitus.
It can be a 50-50 for that one. Honestly, I've had lots of people who have been able to change the sensation. A lot of people have had great success with it and calming their nervous system down, because the more they think about it, the greater the sound became. Again, this isn't a magic wand. It's about 50% success rate that I've seen with that. Some people have great success. Most people have had the greatest success when they're using it, as well as change of diet for inflammation processes in the ear and stuff. And we often blend modalities together, providing that information. So it's a great question. And for some people, yes, and some people no.
Okay. What would a typical hypnotist cost in Canada, and for that matter, in the United States?
The rates are generally the same. The truth is you should never be purchasing per session. You should be purchasing per program. This is an outcome-based thing, especially when it comes to pain, because you want to be able to have multiple sessions so that the hypnotist can actually make adjustments. So some people are going to respond really good to say, for instance, a cold numbing technique. Other people are going to do better with a warming technique. Other people are going to do better with a control room. So if the hypnotist doesn't have that ability to actually have that feedback, what did you really like, or what do you need to change, then we don't have that opportunity. So in general, the range in Canada and the US is the same. We wish our dollars were the same, but they're not. Somewhere between, if you're going to divide it out per session, I would say between $150 to $300 per session, depending. If you're going to get it in a program, I absolutely know that you can get it for, a reasonable rate. And some of us were really motivated. When we know the situation is challenging, we will make a plan that is right for your time and your budget. So if a person has that assessment and talks to me specifically about what they can do, I can also design a program that's right for their time and budget.
Okay. So let me add to that question, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So, for example, Kaiser in the United States now allows acupuncture, and you pay a copay only instead of the entire fee.
Mm-hmm.
And there have done things like that you can join health clubs for free and they pay for it. I mean, so do you have anything like that coming up or are consideration? In other words, an insurance or program costs that are paid for by the healthcare system and the patient only pays a small amount.
That is such a loaded question and outside of my scope. However, I can give you a little bit of information on that. So the truth is most people recoup the cost because of the amount of medication that they're not consuming. So the cost of medication helps them recoup the cost. So that's number one. Second, only from my experience, some institutions will cover it if it's done by a certain designation. Now, and what I mean by that is like somebody who actually isn't specialized in hypnosis. Like I do hypnosis and NLP. That is what I do. I'm, if you want to talk about 10,000 kicks or 10,000 hours, I focused on one thing and one thing only, but the other designations that can do it sometimes can be an MD and it can be claimed, or a psychologist, psychiatrist, those kind of things. But I really, it's rare that they're focused on pain management. They're like more broad theme. Yeah.
Okay.
You're getting a specialist versus, and then the last thing is that, I don't know in the States, but in Canada, some of us have something called a health spending account. And there's certain organizations where they'll literally let people buy a snowboard or, a special heating pad, and that's covered in their health spending account. And that's where this can be covered. As an adjunct, I'm a licensed vocational school. And because I'm actually in a teaching institution, and because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, I can actually write it as a course. So if you do a program, we label it as a course, and some people can claim courses. So I think I've hit all the information that I actually know on that, but please do your research.
Yeah. So next question is, you mentioned something about a stress relief article, and what was the other topic?
Sorry, no, it's a pain relief article. It was in the pain management, in a pain management magazine. I would give you that article, and then I have a stress relief audio.
Okay. I think that answers it. Let's see, and not fast enough time. Anyway, you couldn't get it all one originally. Is hypnosis offered over Zoom?
Absolutely. Yeah. So virtual or in-person sessions, they are the same. The feedback is that obviously I cannot touch through the screen, so I do work across Canada and the US. And again, the process is the same. If we have bad cell service, our internet service will back it up with a audio from phone as well as visual with camera. So yeah, back in the day, we actually did hypnosis over the phone. So, you can do it if there's motivation, we can make it work from wherever a person is. And if they really want to, experience a live session, I'm part of a team called the Master Hypnosis Society, and I can probably help find a hypnotist if you prefer to be in person, potentially in your area. We do have stations across Canada and the US.
Okay. So here's a request. Can you put the screen with the 4 steps again up on so that, because they didn't get enough time to take a picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Screen share again. All right.
There we go.
Hopefully they let me go backwards.
There it is.
All right.
Okay. All right, well, while that's going on, let's see what else I can come up with. And there's a comment about meditations, basically what you mentioned already in terms of meditation versus hypnosis. So the same question, basically. Can you recommend any books for beginners?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's a book called Self-Hypnosis by Charles Tebbets. A really great basic hypnosis book is called, actually, I have it sitting right here. I was working with a client with it. Oh, great. I can't do it with the, it's called, anyways, it's called The Wizard Within by Al Krasner. Another great book, This is very specific to pain management. It's just called Pain Relief by Hilberg, 2 different Hilbergs. It depends specifically if people message me directly, if they're looking for just general hypnosis, information, or if they, even just wanted to take a course so that they could do this themselves, please reach out and I can send more resources off the top of my head. I don't have my entire library in front of me here. But yeah, for just general fun and basic information, definitely The Wizard Within is fantastic. And like I said, Self-Hypnosis by Charles Tebbets.
Okay. Will self-hypnosis, will self-hypnosis before or during an EMG test affect the test results?
Shouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, I am, don't say that 100%, but there's no reason why it could interfere anymore. It wouldn't be any different than watching a movie and then having an EMG test. If you're not allowed to do that, then perhaps you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Same with listening to an audiobook or anything where you're focused and paying attention causes a very similar brainwave state. So again, this is just a normal brainwave state that people do all the time, and we go in and out of it daily and many times a day.
So the next one is back to the acupuncture twice a month free, and Canada's socialized medicine, but you've already explained all that for the most part, I think.
Okay.
So the next one is yes, though in Canada, okay, I think someone is answering the question. What is the email address we can use to request article and audio?
For sure. So I'm going to share my screen again, just because then everything is right there rather than me saying it out loud. Oops. There we go. Does that help? We've got phone numbers, we got websites, we got email. It's hypnosisab@gmail.com. You
Okay.
can call or text the second number. The first number is just a phone number, office number. The second number, the 825-965-9399. I do accept text messages. Sometimes it's just easier for people. And then learnhypnosis.ca is the main website.
Yeah, so here's another one that's, okay, let's see here. I couldn't get info, which we just did. Okay, self-hypnosis by Charles Tebbets.
Tebbets.
Yeah, Glenn clarified for everyone. Thanks, Glenn. And let me check to see if there's anything in Q&A. Nope. So
Yeah, I didn't see anything before.
yeah. So I think we've gone through everything, and hopefully people have felt very comfortable about asking. I thought some of the questions were interesting. And the presentation was really interesting in terms of thinking about, I never thought about hypnosis as a means of managing pain. I always thought of it as sort of like a, game. Like they, basically where, like you said, on stage. But
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot more to it and a lot more benefit that can be obtained from it. So thank you very much for an excellent presentation.
You're welcome.
And also
And
for
if you-
making yourself available for questions for people
Yeah.
to email you and contact you.
So, that really, just to really solidify this, I said Dr. James Esdell did over 300 surgeries. And this, it was amazing, and it could not be replicated once he went back to England because it wasn't the same scenario. So again, it is replicable as long as a person actually wants it and needs it. So, when you're thinking of that stage hypnosis versus live hypnosis, the reason people succeed on stage is often because of a suggestion the hypnotist has said, like, those of you who come on stage tonight will feel as though you've had 8 hours of sleep. So those people, the benefit is far outweighs, and as long as you have a hypnotist with integrity, it's okay to sing to your favorite song or, it can be harmless and easy, but wouldn't you rather change the sensations in your body through fun rather than like a hard process, right? And that is the goal, like to make this funner, make this more comfortable, more easier. And what if you actually felt better? You know, your mind is infinitely powerful, and we've all heard stories where people have like radically changed. You know, they couldn't walk and then they could, or they were uncurable and then they were cured. Hypnosis is accessing that part of your mind very specifically. It is the original tool. It can be magical. It can happen in an instant, and it can provide the relief that you need.
And I thank you again. So on behalf of the Western Neuropathy Association, thank you. And we will send you a copy of the recording just so you have it. And you can also access it on our website, which is pnhelp.org. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. And I will upload it as well, and people will be able, I'll share it so other people can benefit if they've missed it.
Good.
Okay.
Glenn, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm very, very happy you came and presented today, Trisha. It's wonderful to hear about these things, especially, you know, alternatives, since so many people have trouble with all the various medications they tend to use. And hopefully people have gotten some ideas and will be able to put them into practice.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate all of your time. I hope you all greater comfort in your minds, your bodies, your emotions with us, whatever you choose to do. I'm here to help if you need something. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.